new ways to collaborate, and explore the places we've never been.
Look at this formation. Let's take a closer look.
And new ways to create the things we imagine. Because when you change the way you see the world, you can change the world you see. This is Microsoft HoloLens.
Hello and welcome to the Tech Tips webinar series presented by the U.S. Small Business Administration and Microsoft. I'm Adalberto Quijada, Director of the SBA's Santa Ana District Office. The SBA's simple but important mission is to help people start and grow businesses that create jobs and power our economy forward. We do this by providing billions of dollars in access to capital, working to ensure small businesses earn their fair share of federal contracts, and by funding a nationwide network of mentors and experts in every field of business. To find your local resources, please visit sba.gov. Small business owners need to understand the importance of technology in running profitable and efficient ventures. That's why I am very pleased my office led the effort to establish this partnership with Microsoft as we present a series of webinars to help you utilize technology in running and growing your business. We're proud to inform, educate, and connect entrepreneurs, and we thank you for viewing today's webinar.
Hi, this is Crancer, and I'm the Partner Channel Development Manager for Microsoft, and I'm thrilled to bring you the Tech Tips series in conjunction with the Small Business Administration. So today, we're going to be talking about 20 tips that will help you increase efficiency and reduce technology costs.
1 second, Chairman, your mic's not on.
I left mine on, it should be on.
Okay, we're going to start over. Hi, this is Sherman Crancer, and I'm the Partner Channel Development Manager for Microsoft, and I'm thrilled to bring you the Tech Tips series in conjunction with the Small Business Administration. Today we're going to talk about 20 tips that will help you increase efficiency and reduce technology costs. The value of managing technology is very important in SMB, and every dollar counts. So we also understand here at Microsoft that 93% of all small businesses use our products. However, they only utilize about 20% of the software. What we're going to do is we're going to mention several of the products in this webinar. However, we also want to know that there are other options out there as well. So, we're here to educate and provide a safe place to learn about technology. So understanding a couple things, we have to understand some metrics before we get into the actual products and services and things that you can do to increase your efficiency and collaboration. So what we know at Microsoft is 71% of the surveyed internet technology and social experts predict that most work will be done via web-based or mobile applications by 2020. We also know that 82% of server workloads will be running in virtual environments by 2016. Then the last thing that we also know is that 45% of all IT services spent on cloud services will be by 2020. The world is changing, and that's why we're here to help educate and bring you into this. So we're equally excited to bring on a special guest that is truly a technology visionary in his field. His accomplishments and status in our community are exemplary. Dave, would you please introduce yourself and your background?
Thanks, Sherman. Appreciate being here with everybody. My name is Dave Seibert, and I'm the CIO of IT Innovators. My expertise is helping businesses better leverage technology. And I do that on all various sizes of businesses. So there could be something small like a dental office that has a half dozen people to a larger company that have 500 plus employees. My background extends about 30 plus years in the technology industry, hardware, software, and business as well. And we often sit down with a business owner and we help them lay out a roadmap so that they can better use technology, and some of those we'll talk about today. So let's talk about some various ideas that you can implement now in your business. And what I've done is I put together 20 tips that you can walk away with at the end of this and put these into place in your business rather quickly. The first one I want to share is dual computer monitors. You may not think about it, but a lot of your employees have one monitor, and employees for most businesses are the highest expense, meaning salary. But if they added a second monitor, it roughly increases their productivity about 28%. And when you compare that against salary, it's an enormous gain. I actually think the number is higher than 28%. And the first thing that I share with clients is get rid of those, quote, older monitors that we call 4:3. They're kind of square in shape. And instead, think about what you see in a theater. In a theater, we call that widescreen or 16:9. And you can actually take two of those and put them side by side, much like what you see in the illustration. But I would propose you go one step further, and you can actually take a lot of monitors and rotate them upright, what I would call portrait, because that's the way most of us read a piece of paper. That's the way most of us surf a web page, and you'll actually get more viewing area on the screen. And then keep in mind that when you have these two screens, now you can open up a document, a spreadsheet, a browser, your line of business app, all at the same time without minimizing and maximizing. And then lastly, you can actually span 3, 4, 5 monitors. Windows, as an example, lets you do that. A lot of people don't know. It's a great productivity tool. The next one is communications. I'm going to talk about Skype. There are other options out there. This feature really allows you to stay in touch with all of your employees, whether they be across the hall or at another remote location. You can actually get a presence indicator right on your computer that will allow you to see if someone's sitting at their desk or not and working, or if they've stepped away. You can have instant messaging so that you can immediately start chatting with somebody and asking them questions instead of having to get up or pick up the phone. And then Skype goes on beyond that. You can actually do phone calls, video conferencing, and it even has whiteboarding so that you can turn around and get multiple people on the screen at the same time, and you can share your screen, or one of the people that you're connected to can share their screen, and each one of you, as you make changes, everyone else can see it. It's a terrific way to communicate for a small business or any size business.
Dave, are we talking about the Skype for Business or the Skype that I think everyone all knows and loves that have been talking to their friends and family for the past several years?
Of course, no, good question. And the names can be a little confusing. Skype for Business is the one that's included. As an example, if you were to get Office 365, you get Skype for Business and all of these features with it.
Fantastic.
The next one I want to talk about is cloud email. So many things are going to cloud. It makes a lot of good sense because it's a robust platform. It's a very budgetable monthly fee, and you can increase or decrease as your company size goes up and down. And I'm going to touch on a product called Exchange. And there are other mail platforms, but the thing I really like about this one is that not only can you have your mail in the cloud, but also multiple people can connect to it at the same time. A good example might be an assistant in your office. So if you have an admin and you're in the field and you need to book an appointment, as you book the appointment in the field, it saves it in the cloud. The admin back at the office instantly sees that you added something into the cloud. Another great feature is conference room. So you probably have resources in your own company, a conference room, a projector screen, maybe even a laptop you want to check in and out. With Exchange, you can take these resources and treat them like people, and you can schedule them so that it's always available and nobody double books. And a last quick example is Busy Schedule Search. That's a really time saver. And that is you're trying to book an appointment between 4 or 5, even 20 people in your business. And this allows you to quickly see who's available and when. The next one I want to share is what we call the client side, meaning the mail program that you actually run either on a handheld or on your PC. And the one I'm going to chat about is Outlook because I like its rich tools. And Outlook has some really neat features that I want to cover. The first one is that it looks the same. Whether you use it in a browser window, you use it as an application on your desktop, you use it on your tablet or your mobile device. And that same look and feel makes the learning curve a lot easier for people. The other one is it has rules. This is something that a lot of people don't use, but it's really powerful. And that is you can say that when an email comes in from a particular person, I want to forward that to a department inside the company. And it'll automatically do it. Or when a certain email comes in with a subject line, I want to turn it red or move it to a folder. It's a great way to organize mail so that you just don't get stuck with all of this filled inbox. It allows you to manage things really well. And the other one I want to touch on really quick is discussion threads. A lot of people don't even know what this is, and it's really great. So you're in a discussion with 6 or 7 people. They're all replying back to you at different times, and you're trying to keep track of that thought of the conversation. You can go inside and click on discussion thread. It'll take all those emails and put them in a way that they chronologically go together, and you can actually read it as a discussion as it's really happening. It's a great time saver and it increases productivity.
So yeah, thanks, Dave. That was really amazing. Regarding Outlook, that is a specific Microsoft product, and there are other options out there to do that. However, Microsoft resides locally on your computer, and you can use Outlook on the internet as an internet client. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Matter of fact, you can even take Outlook and you can connect it into other products. Let that be something hosted at Google or something hosted at Outlook.com or something hosted on another provider.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, thanks for clearing that up there. Other solutions to consider are, we kind of talked about Outlook and Skype, but there's other things that kind of go around security. Can you possibly kind of, move us into how you view the small to medium-sized business become a little bit, have more like a peace of mind type of scenario? Can you kind of walk us through that?
Be glad to. So one of the first things that we can talk about is passwords. We all have passwords. And I kind of treat passwords as a love-hate. We know we need them, but they're a challenge. So the first thing that I share with our clients is start using password phrases. And what that really does for you is quite a few things. Number one, it's a lot easier to remember. So a lot of times people are using a dog's name, a kid's name, the address where they live, and all those kinds of things are bad. Instead, they could use something that's unique and not very easily hackable, but people think that's hard to do. And the way you make it easy is you use password phrases. And I gave a couple examples like, life is great, or I have 3 kids. Now it's real important, notice there's no spaces in those. That means that when those are pushed together like that, you can read them, but those are no longer words in the dictionary. Because they're all together with no spaces, that makes them unique. And because they're unique, it's going to be a lot harder to hack them, but yet easy for you to remember. So try to do that whenever possible. Always mix those characters up and down, and remember, no spaces. Makes a big difference.
Dave, so a couple of things here. How about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6?
So you know, every year they come out with a list of the top 10 most known passwords.
Okay.
And we all have a little bit of a laugh over them, and they're like password 1 or password 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And as we all know, there's security breaches and there's a lot of things that hit the news. And a lot of this happens because people use things like password 1, 2, 3. So protect yourself, protect those around you, and use a little bit of a clever password phrase, and you will incredibly increase your security and lower your risk.
How about, you know, man, I get a lot of feedback from people saying, oh my gosh, I've got 12 passwords. You know, I'm just going to have one password for every account, and I'm never going to change it because nobody really cares about me. What would you say to that?
Sure. You know, there's a couple answers. The first answer is that if you leverage cloud services, as an example, Azure has a cloud service, and it has one-click login. And they now support, gosh, I think the number is roughly about 2,800 applications. Okay. And by leveraging a solution like that, you have one-click login. And there are other solutions if you don't use a cloud service, like what they call a password manager. Those are good, but you can't beat 2,800 applications with single-click login. That really goes a long way to simplify it.
Great, thanks. All right, we can move on to the next one. Thanks for clearing that up for me.
Sure. So let's talk about video conferencing. I think for most businesses, that is a tool that really allows them to reach beyond their 4 walls. Perhaps your business has multiple locations, or your business has leveraged overseas. So you have manufacturing in India, Shanghai, or anywhere. So that could be highly cost in order to really talk to them and express, have meetings, etc. So conferencing is real important. The thing I'm going to touch on with you is something called Surface Hub. So there's a lot of video conferencing solutions. I think this one's really unique. It's unique because it's a touch screen that you can put in your conference room. It's a choice of 55 or 84 inches, really good size. And the key is it's always on. So when you walk into your conference room, anybody can walk up and touch it. And the moment you touch it, it is ready to communicate. It can hold a directory, and you can call your manufacturing location in Shanghai. And you can be sitting in the room, one person or several people, a dozen people in the conference room talking to them. Now here's what makes this really special. One is that it supports the Microsoft Office suite of applications. It's actually installed on it. That means you can turn right around and open something like Excel, Word, or any application like that. It also means it's touch screen. And it's not just touch one finger, it's touch 2 finger like a lot of us are accustomed to. And it supports colored pens. And a really, I'll use the word neat, a really neat feature is that it has two cameras in such a way that when the person speaking walks up to the screen to touch on it, they actually kind of appear as though they're back in the middle of the room versus right on top of the screen. It's an amazing technology, and it's really rich in what it does. And it does leverage Skype for Business. The next one I want to touch on is remote file sharing. So a lot of us know different services that are out there. I'm going to touch on OneDrive. OneDrive has some really good benefits for the business. Number one is if you were to subscribe to Office 365, it's included. And therefore you can leverage everything that it has to offer. Some of those things that it can do for you is that you can have an amazing amount of storage in the cloud. Based on what you're doing, you can have from gigabytes to terabytes. And what I like is that not only can you share files within your company, so from employee to employee, they can take a look at those files and share them. And no matter if they go home, those files in essence travel with them because they're in the cloud. The other thing I really like about it is a lot of businesses need to share information with people outside their own company. So perhaps you're part of an association and you have a board, or you're part of any business and you have outside consultants. It doesn't really matter who that is. You can share that content. So it makes it easy to click, share, send somebody a link, and by simply clicking on that link, they can view that content directly from the cloud, no matter where they are. And that really allows a small business to scale themselves and reach out and open communication beyond their own four walls, as I might call it.
I think the idea, really with remote file sharing, and I think the concept, with the cloud is really about working together in collaboration anywhere in the world. Now, not necessarily specifics, but how do you share documents, and do you want to get away from sending file after file, version 1, version 2, version 3, version 4? I'm sure you remember those days, Dave. Would you say that's probably the concept that we're really trying to make aware within our community? Absolutely.
For those of you that we'll just say you remember the term sneakernet. And sneakernet years ago meant that you would copy something onto a floppy drive, and then that floppy drive, you'd have to hand it to your neighbor. We advanced from floppy drives, and a lot of people went to USB. And USB drives are nice, but people lose those. And they lose them by the thousands. And the next one is that you say, okay, but which USB drive is it on? And which version? Is it the version that you save last or I save last? Uh-huh. And you're right. By taking those and putting them in the cloud, now as you save it, there's only one version of the truth, as you might call it. And it makes it easy for everybody to retrieve, save, and write over, and always be using the most recent version.
Great. Perfect. Thank you.
Absolutely. The next one I want to touch on is hidden computer issues. Productivity is really important. That is keeping your team and your company employees working, and to keep them working, you need to keep your computers working. And there's a feature that's called basically the event viewer. And I think that it's good and bad, meaning that instead of popping errors up on the computer when they happen, they kind of log them away in this place called the event viewer. It's easy to get to. It's on your computer, and if you went to your computer under Properties, in your control panel is Event Viewer. But you need to take a look at this, because this is important to keeping a healthy, good running computer. And instead of having a 911 problem on Monday morning, you could have known last week on Thursday or Friday that you actually have an issue. And you'll simply know it by taking a look at the event viewer, and whenever something is not right, it's saved in red color. So when you look, red's not good. So if you see something in red, that's kind of your signal, much like you might call out for a plumber when you have a leak. to call out to a technology company like what we and others provide and say, hey, I have something wrong with this computer, come fix it and help us, before it actually turns into a real problem that the employees can't work. So know that those are there and those issues can be fixed before the employee can no longer work. It's like an early warning system. The next one is cybersecurity. I think cybersecurity is on everybody's mind. We read about it in the newspapers, the magazines, we hear it on the news, on TV, and we definitely probably experience it ourselves just through, perhaps we got malware on our own computer, or worse yet, maybe even got ransomware. And this impacts a lot of businesses. So 40% of businesses that are attacked with a cyber attack close their doors in 6 months. So it is really serious. And when it hits a business, it normally hits them business-wide, meaning it normally attacks the data storage, which is the intellectual property that makes up a company. And when you lose your intellectual property, that's where the business becomes devastated, and that's why it closes. There's a lot of solutions that are out there. One of them is called EMS. And what EMS really does is it allows you to protect mobile devices. A good example is remote wipe. What remote wipe, that's hard to say. What remote wipe does is that if a cell phone, smartphone is lost or stolen, it's got a lot of data on it. It has files, it has emails, has correspondence, it has text messages, voicemails. We have the ability to remotely wipe that cell phone, and we can do the same thing for other things like a tablet or a laptop. So don't think just because that device got stolen, your data is now in the hands of somebody bad, because the ability to clear it and remove all of that data at literally a single click exists today. And you really should take a look into solutions like that.
Great. Well, thanks, Dave. So we have hit halftime, and want to say thank you, so much for, staying with us right now. Part of us being here is really to be here to help educate the small to medium-sized business. However, we would like to have some of your feedback as to how we are doing with this, so that we can change it to satisfy the needs and concerns of the members of our community. What we'd like to do is, we have an actual web link on the video right now that is https or www.aka.ms/SBA West. We'd like you to click on that, or kind of put that to the side and fill it out at the end of the broadcast. And we're going to award 2 lucky attendees from this show some software coming from Microsoft. So thank you so much. All right, so let's kind of move in, to the next one. That was just kind of our public service announcement. We've had some really great feedback, just recently, around cybersecurity and around, hidden computer issues. And now it's really about, productivity and communications and community communication, excuse me. There are many ideas out there that can assist the small to medium-sized business that are, that would help in increasing sales dramatically. Dave, can you kind of go over, first what will be, some metrics, and then, give us what, your thoughts are on the subject.
Absolutely. Thanks, Sherman. The first thing I think to realize is that mobility is here to stay. And it's a good thing. And the number of mobile devices, let that be tablets and smartphones, are dramatically increasing. And one of the things to also realize is how they make it into a small business. So 97% of people that use smartphones choose the smartphone that they use. And 70% that are bringing those into a business like a tablet are choosing those devices themselves. So some larger companies will standardize and they'll provide those, but for a lot of small business, the actual people are bringing those devices into. We actually have a name for that, and it's called BYOD, and it's short for Bring Your Own Device.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you
Go right ahead.
I just heard a metric that was 40% of all SMB are now almost completely mobile, as opposed to having the traditional brick and mortar office, where they had to actually have the shingle, rent out space, and be there. Have you heard, similar metrics behind that?
Absolutely. And there's a term that we all know called brick and mortar, and it's referred to as traditional business, traditional four-wall businesses. And we have a lot of businesses that are now literally born in the cloud businesses. And the need for them to have the expense of that office space is not necessary today like it once was. Of course, a lot of businesses still have that presence, and that's fine. But also realize that you can launch a business in this day and age with internet connectivity, with wireless connectivity, with all of your services in the cloud. And that means you can do it from almost anywhere, and your employees can work from almost anywhere. It really is changing the way I think young people are entering the workforce, and the way that they're either working remotely or just the way a small business can hire people now, because they can hire people from all over geographies for the right person, best person for the job, not necessarily somebody who just lives down the street.
Yeah, and you can monitor them differently than you were in the past, right? I mean, people would have to come and you'd be like, okay, are they actually working? But now with this collaboration and productivity and working in the cloud, you basically know whether they're on or they're off their laptop or computer, right?
Absolutely. Matter of fact, one of the things that we named earlier, there's a program called Skype for Business. And one of the features that Skype for Business has is what we were calling that presence indicator. And it really does come in handy for lots of reasons. If someone's in a meeting, they can actually, this ties into their calendar, automatic. That means that when the calendar says they're in a meeting, it actually changes their indicator to say, I'm in a meeting.
Okay.
And likewise, if somebody gets up and they're on their mobile device, it actually knows they're on their mobile device, and it will change their status to say on mobile. It's amazing how it enables small business to really communicate and collaborate so much better.
Oh, wow, okay, that's great.
And of course, we were just talking about Skype for Business. And the thing I want to touch on here is a little different, and that is I want to touch on something that's called VoIP. It's spelled VoIP. It's pronounced VoIP, and it stands for Voice over IP. IP is a nice way to say the internet. And it's amazing what features you can have for a small business. It used to be that only enterprise with thousands of phones could have some of the features that were the rich features. Now I actually think that small business can have more and better features than enterprise can have. And it was all made possible by this feature called VoIP. And Skype for Business, part of what it offers is VoIP. And let me share a few things it can do, because I get excited talking about it. One of the things it allows you to do is, sure, the phone can ring and you can answer it. I get that. But it allows features like Follow Me. So that means that when my phone in the office rings, so does my mobile device, so does my phone at home. It can actually follow either at the same time, it can ring them all, or it can follow a series, meaning call my office first, then call my mobile second, and then call my home office number third. It also has the ability to do multiple call appearances. That makes it really easy to be on one call, answer a second call, or conference call together. And all of these items, including when it hits 5 o'clock, I want you to move it from my office phone to my mobile phone. It allows you to put some rules to it like that. Another great feature is voicemail. I know we've all had voicemail, but this is not your grandfather's voicemail, as they might say. This voicemail, it's recorded and then it's turned into what's called a WAV file. That means you can receive it in your email. So now you can turn around and you can receive voicemails right in your email, and everywhere your email goes, tablet, laptop, phone, it doesn't matter. And also the ability for that email, you can play it on any computer or device. It really allows you to do great things. And the last thing I want to touch on is that a VoIP phone can be picked up and moved around. That means that when you order 20 for your small business and somebody is home with a physical ailment, or they just work from home, they can actually pick up that office phone, take it home with them, and they can receive, you can transfer calls to them just as though they were sitting right there at the office at their desk.
Now that's really business continuity, business continuation, right? Being able to go from your office, right, and getting in your car and you run home, and then you're like, okay, I'm working from home, and people think it looks like I'm running from home. That's kind of the neat thing. The other thing is that, we have our phones that we have on our desk, but, nobody really uses them anymore. We only use them for conference calls because we actually have a soft phone, which that is actually the phone pad is on our computer. Now, many organizations that are providing voice over IP as a metric are they provide that, right? But I think the move is really going away from this traditional, hey, I got to have a brick and mortar business, right? And then I also have to have phone lines to go with that. And I have to pay all these expenses. Now it's like, well, nah, you really don't. You can just have it, all on your laptop, which is right. I mean, would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I was actually talking to a CEO at a client's office yesterday, and their traditional phones cost them roughly $500 to $600 per phone. And those phones can't go anywhere, meaning they're sitting there on their desk. And I shared the same thing that you did, and that is that you have a soft phone on a laptop.
Yeah.
So you can plug in literally Bluetooth. You can be talking Bluetooth connected to your laptop, and what's really great is that when you pick up your laptop and you travel to the airport or the hotel, your phone goes with you. It's really amazing.
Yeah. So I think mobility and apps is next, right?
Let's do that. So mobile productivity. We kind of mentioned already that mobile is on the climb. There's no doubt about it. If you don't also know, the number of mobile devices outsells the number of desktop computers. And the cost of mobile devices is also, meaning of those applications, is also lower than the apps that you might normally buy on a computer. And that's, so now you have the technology on the go, so to speak. And it really is empowering to small business. A lot of applications, line of business applications, to keep track of sales, marketing, if you're in manufacturing, all these apps now run on smart devices. And those smart devices are many of the things that you might think of, meaning a smartphone, a tablet. If you might even know the term phablet. And a phablet is a combination of a tablet and a phone in one. And so amazing technology, and those mobile apps are empowering small businesses more and more. And one of the things I want to touch on too is when you have these apps on your phone, they're real time. So a great example is email. So when you have an email app on your phone, something similar to Outlook, it allows you to turn around and make an appointment, and the moment you make that appointment, anywhere else that's connected, your laptop, your computer back at the office, or even your admin or co-manager at the office, they'll instantly see that appointment that's been made. And of course that's made possible through sharing credentials. So obviously you have to provide credentials, but once that's done, it's really empowering. And I think the other thing we should probably touch on too is that you can have the Office suite in this case, meaning Word, Excel, on those devices. So they can run on your tablet, they can run on your laptop, they can run on your smartphone. And that means when you have a document, when somebody emails that to you, regardless of what device is in your hand, you can read each one of those equally, which is really great. The next one is a Bluetooth headset, and you might think that's kind of an oddity for a business. You might think of a Bluetooth headset as something that you use in your car, or maybe something that you used to listen to music if you're out and about. But in today's business, Bluetooth headsets are really on a climb, and the reason that they are is, number one is you can now receive your voicemails into email. And if you think about it, in a lot of businesses, they may not have speakers. I know laptops have speakers, but a lot of computers in the business office don't have speakers because it would disrupt everybody. Well, when those emails come in and you want to listen to the voicemail message, a Bluetooth headset is a perfect way to do it. The other one is, Sherman mentioned that instead of paying $400, $600 for a physical phone, instead, you can turn around and you can use a Bluetooth headset, and you can not only tie it into something like this laptop here, but you can tie it into your desktop computer as well. That also means that you can get up from your desk and you can travel around a little bit. And normally in an office environment, most phones have a cord on them, so when you're talking, you can pick it up and talk, but you can't actually walk away. With Bluetooth, you have about 10 meters or 30 feet, and it's really empowering again, because now the employee can get up, retrieve a file from the file cabinet, come back, sit at the desk, and do all of that while they're still connected or talking on their phone. It really does some great stuff, and they're relatively inexpensive. A Bluetooth headset like this may only be $40 plus or minus, so it really is empowering to a small business.
I tell you, Dave, I am wearing my Bluetooth headset right now just to show the audience. But I do have one that I'm tethered. That's a full, over-the-ear thing, and the Bluetooth is by far one of the best devices out there. Just hands down, one of the best devices out there. So I'll go ahead and pass it back to you, but this is a use of the Bluetooth headset.
And Sherman, I have to say the Bluetooth headset on the screen's a bit smaller than yours too.
Yeah.
The next one is one platform. Whichever technology platform you choose, choosing one that allows a single platform is an enormous benefit to your business. I'm going to touch on Windows 10. Windows 10 has one platform that works across all of your devices. That means that in your office environment, when you have your desktop computers or your laptops in the office, they could be running Windows 10. Likewise, when they have a tablet that is mobile or a smartphone, or they go home, it's all one platform, which makes teaching your employees a lot easier. It makes installing programs a lot easier, and it also means there's one look and feel. It also means that when you're going out to buy a new software product, you just have to look for a single logo, which also helps to know it's going to run across all of your platform solutions. Something that's worth mentioning, and that is that in the case of Windows 10, there's currently a free upgrade. So if you're running Windows 7, Windows 8, you can upgrade to Windows 10 and then gain the benefit of that single platform. Some businesses say, I'm not sure if my stuff can run on Windows 10. So one of the things that we do for our clients is that we encourage them to take one computer, set it up in their business, and then test drive it. So in other words, go ahead and test their line of business applications, test their cloud applications, test their local on-premise applications. And then that way they'll know if they run smoothly under Windows 10. If they run under 7 or 8, odds are extremely high that they're going to run under 10 just fine. But we still like them to have the confidence to know that. And then at that point in time, now you can go ahead with confidence and roll it out to everybody inside your company. It's an easy way to do it with knowing it's going to work the first time.
So, moving into business, continuation, I just want to touch on the concept of standardizing platforms. a lot of businesses run a lot of different programs, a lot of different things that span, from accounting software, financial software, contact management software, and having a single platform that you run everything on and make sure that you don't have to get different versions of those same programs running on different computers is extremely important. And I think, the concept of, okay, let's look at what we have and say, okay, let's take inventory and actually standardize it. In the long run, it's going to probably cost you less because you're not going to have as many issues that are associated with, bringing on, IT companies such as, Dave. And would you agree with that?
There's no doubt that I'm going to change your probably to it will lower your cost.
Okay.
And so to share a couple things, software licensing I don't think is anybody's topic, regardless of the products that you choose. It's always one of those things you just have to keep track of and do. But whenever you're running multiple solutions or multiple versions, it just makes it harder. And there's no reason to make it harder. So you're right. The first thing you want to do is try to run the same version. The second thing is employee training. If you have 2 or 3 different versions of the same product, the screens look different. And therefore, when employees are collaborating and they're trying to share each other best practices or look at what I did, you don't want them to say, well, my screen doesn't look like that. It makes it a lot easier when it all looks the same. And the other thing, of course, is that when you're saving and sharing documents, you don't want someone to have to say, oh, I can't read what you just sent me. Hang on, let me take that back and let me save as, and then they name something they're going to save it as. It obviously works a lot better and saves your company money when everybody's using the same version. They receive the same training and they all have the same understanding. It works so much better, and it absolutely saves a small business money.
Great. So, moving on, business continuation, and we talked about cybersecurity before, right? We talked about some of these metrics, and I really want to reiterate this. It's one of the most important things right now in SMB. There's actually more attacks happening every day in SMB than there are with the bigger organizations out there. And Dave did mention 40% of all businesses shut down after a cyber attack within 6 months. It's even larger as they move down. So if you're having issues with your passwords or you're trying to keep them simple, it's time to really reevaluate, because the fines that can come from credit card companies or not being PCI compliant or releasing information from your members of your organization are astronomical, and that's what really provides those metrics of 40%. So, let's go ahead and move into the next one. Dave, why don't you go over, we've got about 15 minutes left here, and we've got about 6 more topics, so we're going to get through these. Let's go into the further metrics behind, business continuation.
Absolutely. So Sherman, you already touched on the fact that 70% of businesses that experience a disaster close within 18 months. And the other number below that is 95% of businesses that have experienced an interruption before. I think the first thing to realize is that we're not honestly talking about things like earthquake or flood or fire. Most disasters in a business actually have nothing to do with any of those. So things happen either because of disgruntled employees. It happens because the faucet in the restroom breaks and you have a flood. It actually happens for even the tenant above you in a multi-story building. So they really happen for a lot of reasons. And when we talk to small businesses, one of the first things we realize is they don't normally prepare for this, because they normally think that disaster means my building's going to burn down, and this building's been here for 80 years. So make sure you protect your business, and as disasters like this do happen. Prevent downtime. So you can absolutely prevent downtime. And IT companies, like our own IT innovators and others like us, our specialty is to go inside of businesses like yours and help you stay productive, because that's what keeps your employees time productive. That's what keeps your costs down. And it actually keeps your business operations running so you can focus on growing. And it totally is able to avoid those 911 phone calls. We do it all of the time for clients. So do look into that. It will greatly help your business. I also want to talk about standardizing technology. I think this is one of the biggest places that technology can save a business money, and you can run things so much better. And I'll give you some really quick examples. I go into a business and I see somebody with 5 printers and all 5 are a different model. That means they have to buy 5 different kinds of toner. That means that when one printer that everybody wants to print to is sitting there and it's out of toner, the other ones are sitting there and they have lots of toner, but they may not be color. The point being is that when you standardize, you actually save a lot of money. When you have laptops, there's accessories like docking stations. And when you buy all kinds of different laptops, your costs actually go up. And you may think, but it was on sale. Let me tell you, every time you see the word sale, it really does say to you it's not standardized. It's going to cost you more money in the long run. So if you really want to save your small business money and you want to make your people productive, think standardize. It will save you a lot more, and it will make your company way more effective.
So, this is we're getting into the wrapping up and getting into the very end, but it's, move faster and more efficient. And how perfect for the end of our webinar. So, we're going to talk about the internet, and today we have a society that wants to have things in milliseconds as opposed to having things in days and minutes. We've moved away from getting a voicemail and calling within 48 hours to getting a voicemail, and if we don't call back within 5 minutes, we are unprofessional, right? I mean, it's amazing how things have changed.
Yep.
So why don't you go ahead and get into some of the things that they can do, that the small to medium-sized business can do to really come up and be with us in these changing times.
I'm going to highlight 2 things that are real important. The first one is because cloud services are so important and they're everywhere, it's now more important than ever to have 2 internet connections. And internet connections have really dropped in price, and therefore there's very cost-effective ways to do that. Number 2 is I want you to think about the model of going through a drive-through and getting a soda. You can get a small, medium, or large. If you ever look at the price, to go from a medium to a large may be the difference of $1.59 to $1.79, 20 cents. And internet connections are the same way. So you can actually double and triple your speeds, sometimes for only a little bit more, just like that soda example. Website productivity. Website is your business online. Every business needs a website presence. The key is do you know who's coming to your site, how long are they staying, and is it really being impactful? So the thing I want to share with you is do know that today's technology on websites and tracking is really far superior than what you might have thought before. Meaning in today's age, you can actually see when people go to your website exactly where they move the mouse, exactly what screens they scroll through, and how long they stay there. And to help you with something, there's something called heat maps. You can look that up on a search engine. And by learning things like this, you can greatly improve your website and the experience your clients are going to have, and that in return is going to bring you more business to your business by understanding what's happening on your website. In collaboration, there's an awesome tool. This particular one is a Microsoft product called OneNote. There's other collaboration tools. The thing I really like about this one is that it's part of the Office suite that you get, but it allows you to capture rich content. That means you can actually record videos. You can capture website screens, like copy the screen, and it will automatically drop in the address of the website that image came from. You can actually capture a photo, and if that photo has text in it, you can actually right-click and say convert image text to normal text. It will actually pull text right out of an image and give you the text, like a poem might be a good example. And it's amazing technology. It'll also allow you to record audio and dictate it back out to text. And it's multi-user. That means that you could be on a conference call and you can have 6, 7 people editing the same document in real time simultaneously. And these features are just amazing for what they will do for small business.
This is another one of the technologies that I think originally was for education, right? Business is starting to cannibalize it and think, oh my gosh, we can use this as a better filing system. One other thing to point out, a lot of businesses, is we know that 92% have Outlook, right? We know that you do. They have their emails and they got to search for something that came in a month or two ago. Very difficult because the search function in Outlook isn't that great. But inside of OneNote, it's got the best, most robust search engine, I guess, inside of it, right?
Absolutely.
Far out exceeds Outlook.
And I know we're nearing the end, but this is worth sharing. And that is that with this OneNote, you can also share it with teams. That means that if you are collaborating with 5 different people in 5 different companies, all of you can not only edit at the same time, but you can search what everybody's done. And not only do you search the text, you search the images, and you search what was recorded. It really is amazing.
Yeah, I went paperless 1 year ago and using OneNote. It's most amazing. I just print everything to my OneNote, and I always have it anywhere I go. The power of the cloud.
And one of the final things I want to share is we all do surveys. And I love Excel online surveys. It's one of those what I call hidden gems, meaning that people don't know that it's there. So before you go out and pay for a third-party survey service, which I understand are out there, this is built inside of Excel online. So you can actually start up Excel, the spreadsheet, be looking at it, and then you can click and say, create online survey. And you can go ahead and pose your questions, save it. Once you're done and you saved it, you can say, share this link. Anybody that you emailed that link to can now fill in your survey. The thing I really like is all of their answers go automatically back inside the spreadsheet. That means no retyping. And you can also set a little alert that says every time that somebody clicked on my survey and fills it in, send me an alert so I know another person filled in my survey. You kind of get the best of both. It's a really great feature. Next steps. I really encourage you to enhance your small business or any business by reaching out to a technology provider, myself or any other solution provider. We really do bring an enormous amount of technology benefit to your business to help it grow, to help it be more efficient, to save a cost. And since we're used to working with hundreds of businesses, we also bring best practices to share with you. And then you can see the choices that you can select from in order to take your business to the next level. And I want to thank you. Again, my name was Dave Seibert, CIO at IT Innovators. My contact phone number and email is here. I welcome you to reach out to ask me any questions. I'm here to serve you, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dave. I really appreciate it. So, in conclusion, thank you once again for presenting today. Dave is a true visionary and a very dear friend of mine. We're excited that you brought this great content to this webinar, and we talk about products here, and there's other products out there, but we also talk about concepts, and that's what I think brings a lot of value to these webinars, is helping the SBA and its members understand without feeling, gosh, this is a sales pressure here, and that's why we really appreciate some of the guests. So next month, we're going to have a very, very important webinar, and it's really going to talk about the financial implications of a cyber attack. This is an absolute must-see. We'll review some of the things that have happened in the past, and we look forward to seeing you there. To all of our friends, thank you for attending the show, and thank you to the SBA, Cherie Coates, Christopher Lorenzana, Alberto Quijada, Dean Suzuki, Eddie Bader, Eric Klaus, Scott Case for assisting with the production. Thank you everyone for joining today, and we look forward to seeing you next month. Have a great day.
Woohoo! And if I